guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will answer two questions. First, kung ang marital infidelity is an act of psychological violence under RA 9262 o ang ikaduha, kung ang marital infidelity is committed outside of the country, pwede bang mukiha ang asawa dinhi sa Pilipinas? Kana atong sutaon in the case of AAA versus BBB. So let us start with the facts of the case.
So, ang parties here are AAA, the wife, and the husband, BBB. So, ang naitabo here, no, is si AAA and BBB were actually married on August 1, 2006 in Quezon City. Ang ilahang kaminyoon actually produced two children, si CCC nga nataw atong March 4, 2007 o si DDD nga nataw pag October 1, 2009. So, ang naitabo here is si BBB, nag-start siya og trabaho sa Singapore as actually a chef. And then, naka-acquire siya dito permanent residency. Unya, niingon si AAA nga samtang naa dito sa Singapore si BBB, ang iyang ihatag nga financial support kay gamay ra gyud kaayo, no. Unya, tungod ni ani napugos siya nga motrabaho sad is a flight attendant. Unya, napud siya allegation nga giabandonar na sila ni BBB, gi-mistreat pud siya ug ang iyang anak. Unya, there was also physical and sexual violence. Unya, to make things worse pa gyud ko, no, si BBB naanay kabit nga Singaporean woman samtang naa siya sa Singapore. AAA and BBB, no, had a violent altercation allegedly at a hotel room in Singapore katong nibisita siya uban ng iyang mga anak. Unya, despite the claims of varied forms of abuses, si fiscal aning kasuhan found sufficient basis to charge BBB with causing AAA mental and emotional anguish through his alleged marital infidelity. Ang issue here, no, is may Philippine courts exercise jurisdiction over an offense constituting psychological violence under RA 9262, otherwise known as Anti-Vause of 2004, committed through marital infidelity when the alleged illicit relationship occurred or is occurring outside the country. Pasabot, kung ang bana ni duwag laing team gawas sa nasod, pwede ba ang asawa mukiha dire sa Pilipinas batok sa iyang bana? Pero ato sa kunong i-define kung unsa nang vause or violence against women and their children. Niingon ang balaod under RA 9262 nga vause refers to any act or a series of acts committed by any person against a woman who is his wife, former wife, or against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship or with whom he has a common child, or against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, within or without the family abode, which result or likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, etc., etc. So tanawa diri guys ha, it is committed against a woman or her child. So unsa man ang mga kinds of violence under RA 9262, upat ni siya kabuok guys. Una ang physical violence, ikaduha sexual violence, ikatulo economic abuse, and the fourth is the psychological violence. Unsa man ning physical violence? This refers to acts that include bodily or physical harm. Sexual violence refers to an act which is sexual in nature committed against a woman or her child. Ang economic abuse would refer to acts that make or attempt to make a woman financially dependent. Unya, ang ikaupat, which is the issue in this case, is kaning psychological violence. So, unsa man ning psychological violence is actually refers to acts or omission causing or likely to cause mental or emotional suffering of the victim, such as but not limited to intimidation, harassment, stalking, damage to property, public ridicule or humiliation, repeated verbal abuse, and marital infidelity. Yung Supreme Court, no? Contrary to the interpretation of the RTC, what RA 9262 criminalizes is not the marital infidelity per se, but the psychological violence causing mental or emotional suffering on the wife. Otherwise stated, yung Supreme Court, it is the violence inflicted under the said circumstances that law seeks to outlaw. Marital infidelity as stated in the law, is only one of the various acts by which the psychological violence may be committed. Moreover, depending on the circumstances of the spouses and for a myriad of reasons, the illicit relationship may or may not even be causing mental or emotional anguish on the wife. Thus, the mental or emotional suffering of a victim is an essential and distinct element in the commission of the offense. So giklaro sa Supreme Court no niingon siya nga dili ang marital infidelity ang atoang gipinalize diriha, but ang psychological violence nga nagmugna og mental or emotional suffering ngadto sa asawa. Kay naa may mga marital infidelity nga dili mag-cause og mental or emotional anguish ngadto sa asawa. So, ang pangutana ani is, Your Honor, ang alleged nga marital infidelity nga nakakos og emotional and mental anguish sa wife was actually committed in Singapore man. Naada itay jurisdiction over the same. Ningon ang Supreme Court, what may be gleaned from Section 7 of RA 9262 is that the law contemplates that acts of violence against women and their children may manifest as transitory or continuing crimes, meaning that some acts material and essential thereto and requisite in their consummation occur in one municipality or territory while some occur in another. And in such cases, ningon ng Supreme Court, the court wherein any of the crime's essential and material acts have been committed maintains jurisdiction to try the case, it being understood that the first court taking cognizance of the same excludes the other. Thus, a person charged with a continuing or transitory crime may be validly tried in any municipality or territory where the offense was in part committed. Pero giklaro sa Supreme Court nga it is necessary for Philippine courts to have jurisdiction when psychological violence was committed outside Philippine territory, that the victim be a resident of the place where the complaint is filed in view of the anguish suffered being a material element of the offense. Meaning, kung asa nagpuyo ang biktima, in this case, kailangan dito po niyang i-file ang kaso. Okay? And as a conclusion, ningon ng Supreme Court, certainly the act causing psychological violence, which under the information relates to BBB's marital infidelity, must be proven by probable cause for the purpose of formally charging the husband and to establish the same beyond reasonable doubt for purposes of conviction. It likewise remains imperative to acquire jurisdiction over the husband, and what this case concerns itself is simply whether or not a complaint for psychological abuse under RA 9262 may even be filed within the Philippines if the illicit relationship is conducted abroad. Ningon ng Supreme Court, well, we say that even if the alleged extramarital affair causing the offended wife mental and emotional anguish is committed abroad, the same does not place a prosecution under RA 9262 absolutely beyond the reach of the Philippine courts. So it is clear no nga bisan pa man ang marital infidelity was committed outside of the country no that caused emotional and mental anguish ngadto sa wife, it will not preclude our Philippine courts from taking cognizance over these cases no. So pwede ra gyud mo kiha ang wife nga ri sa Pilipinas bisan pa man og ang alleged nga pagduwa og laing team sa bana was committed outside of the country.
So mo to guys, ang case ni AAA versus BBB. I hope you learned something from it. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, Darchi Wagas, and hit that notification button so that you will be notified of my future videos. Thank you very much. Amping.